Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome into the Coach Ty Show, hosted by me, Coach Ty. Let's get everybody in here real quick. Get everyone in here, man. Welcome into the Coach Ty Show, hosted by me, Coach Ty. We have an amazing show today, guys. We have an amazing show. I mean, we're in the waiting game right now, but we'll talk more about that. And then we also will talk about what is the chances of us actually landing half of the, Milan. Well, I mean, what is our chances? So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about what is the roster? Like, what do we think Pope's going to do with this roster? Just a lot of great stuff, man. But welcome in. So sorry that it took a while to get us back up here, and I apologize about that. This week's been really like hectic. Like, it's been crazy this week. Like, it's been like legitimately nonstop from Sunday until today. Like, I have been on the move. I've been like going 24/7. Like, I probably spent maybe all week probably like 5 hours at the house. Like, it's been crazy. If anybody knows, getting a new license, DMV, just all that crap. Y'all know how bad, that is. It just like, I think going to the DMV and stuff like that has got to be like the top 5 worst things ever. Like, it has to be the top 5 worst things. Going, getting a new license, getting that little paper license, then waiting. And then what made it all worse, to be honest, what made everything worse was someone got into my Apple Pay, and I have no idea how they did it, and wind up charging some stuff. So I had to get a new card, and they was like, hey, if you want to get cash out, you got to bring 2 forms of ID and everything to the bank. And I'm like, man, I ain't got my ID. I'm waiting for this, and they don't take like a paper copy. So now if I go to the bank and show them this paper copy, they're gonna think that I forged it. So now, like, I actually got my card yesterday, but like it's just like literally been the waiting game, and that's that has to be some of the worst things ever, is just being like in the waiting game of getting your got to get your license, got to get this card, and like it's been a crazy week. So I'm so sorry for not being live this week. Next week we will be live. I want to say probably Wednesday, and then I will be I'll be on Big X Sports in Louisville on Friday from 12 to 2. So we'll be on there this week. And but yeah, it's a big week, guys. It is a big week, and we all know the big waiting game right now of Milan. What is going to happen with Milan? Are we going to get him? Are we not? There was Zoom calls. There was like a lot of things going on. You got Louisville, you got St. John's, you got Arizona, you've got Kentucky. Like, there's so many people wanting this young man. And yes, do I think that he is a game changer? Do I think it is a player that can change the trajectory of this team? Yes, I do. I totally believe that. I totally believe that at the end of the day, if we get this young man, in my opinion, we will go from roughly just thinking the NCAA tournament. I'm just thinking tournament wise. I think we'll go from maybe a 6-7 seed, maybe 8 seed, to maybe a 3-2. I don't like. I really don't believe even adding him, we will be in the top 5. I don't believe that, and a lot of people will call me a hater. A lot of people will say that I am hating on that, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Now, given if we had and we'll talk about this a little bit later, if we had a coach that I really felt like could lead this team to a Final Four or something like that, I think we would see them maybe in the top 5. But I'm still skeptical. I'm still a little bit on the fence about that right there. But what Jack Pilgrim reported that Kentucky did have another Zoom call with Milan on Friday, and now it's kind of like decision mode right now, he said. So where do I think he's going to land? To be honest, I don't know. If we're talking about, everyone's put everything on the table. Louisville, Arizona's creeping in, Kentucky. I mean, they're pretty much putting all cards on the table. Now it's really up to him and what he wants to do. Does he want to play for Pope? Does he want to play for, Pat? Does he want to play for, Arizona, whatever? I mean, the list probably would go on and on. Let's just say that. But what does this young man want to do? Now, if I want to raise my draft stock and go, maybe lottery, Pope can make the point of a Kobe, Kobe Bryant. You can make the point where I took this young man and now he's on a rod. You can make a point for a couple players that are playing in the league, but can he make the point of if you come here, we will get you where you need to be. And that's kind of where I'm kind of like on the little bit of the edge about that. You could say the same thing about Louisville. We could say the same thing about Louisville. Spreading on X, Milan is committing soon to give truth to that. No, I don't think there's truth to that. I don't. I think a lot of people are running, and see, that's the problem with, I think, and you bring up a good point. That's a problem that I think that X and these blog pages, I think anybody with a voice is just going to say anything. Like nowadays, anybody can say anything. I don't think there is a commitment coming soon. I think it's going to happen Monday or Tuesday. That's just my opinion. I'm not one of those guys that are going to jump out on the ledge and be like, hey, he's going to commit. I just don't see it. I think he's going to take the weekend, maybe take a couple more days, and then go from there. We got to think this guy is getting $6 million. You know what I'm saying? He's getting $6 million wherever he's going to go. 6, maybe a little bit more. That's kind of the ballpark right now at 6. I can do what I want. I mean, you got all the stars lined up pretty much. So I don't think there's any truth to that. Like there was a rumor going around on X that he is signed and verbally committed, and then a couple hours later there was talks about, hey, they didn't do it. But no, I don't think any verbal commitment or anything has happened right now. And I don't think we'll hear anything. He isn't coming to play for Pope. We never know. I mean, I can't never say never. You never know. If money's right, money's right. But the thing that bothers me about this situation, and not the young man, but just the whole situation, is if I'm Kentucky, I've got to find a way to land this young man to show Big Blue Nation and show everybody that I can land a big fish. That I can land a big fish. And we cannot say Malachi, because, Malachi always wanted to come to Kentucky. He wanted to be here. And I can't say it really landed. He wanted to better his stock, so, he comes back home. But I want to see Pope go one-on-one with some of these guys and land a big fish. That's what I want. I want him to go big time one-on-one with some of the big names, Duke, whatever, and land somebody like this. Now, mind you, Duke isn't in the running for this. Louisville, Arizona, whatever. I think I want to see him land that, so we know that he has the capability of landing a big fish. And that's the one thing that has, other than, some other things that we'll talk about later on, that's one thing that I really wish Pope could do. And that's why I hope Milan actually comes to Kentucky. That way, that is kind of like off our back. You know what I'm saying? So if he commits Kentucky, where do you see us going? Small with Cam at the 4, Milan at 4. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Cam needs to be in that starting lineup. I just don't. I think Cam would be better off coming off the bench and being a energy guy. Now, I know that Pope said he's worked really hard and all this. I don't know. I don't think Cam can technically, I don't think putting Cam in that lineup is going to be good. That's just my opinion. I don't think he is a starter. That's just what I think. I think if you're bringing some of these guys in, I don't think Cam. I think Cam should be like maybe the 6th guy off the bench. Come in, give us that energy. Come in and give us that, that oomph. That guy. I mean, even in Pope's so-called system, being the sixth man, you still going to get starter minutes. You're still going to get 15 to 20 some odd minutes, that maybe more depending on the foul situation, maybe 20, 24 minutes. You're going to actually get way more minutes than other programs, six man. So that's one thing I will give Pope in that situation, that I think, I think in that situation, I think that would be what I think. Pope won to come pretty hard, and we won that one. But I agree. I want to see him. Well, yeah, I want to see Pope. I want to see Pope get a top 5 recruit from one other of the big names. I want to see him go head to head with, Duke, UConn, and win one of those battles. I think that is something that we have not technically seen. And I'm talking about recruit battles. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop talking. You got 5 people watching. No one cares what you think. Oh, he got a reaction. Yay. Good job. Good job, big fella. I think, at the end of the day, if Pope can do that, I think that would bring a little bit more relief to us than somebody that could do than what we're getting now. Because nowadays, if we don't get cats on top, I hope so. Here you go. I do think if we can go and get one of these, what I don't understand is why is Pope putting, hey, BBN, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. I don't understand why Pope didn't go after some of these high school kids. That's the thing that really puzzles me and worries me, is he's putting all of his eggs in this transfer portal basket, which I don't like. Like, I don't like that. That's one thing I don't like. I don't like him putting his eggs in that basket. Now, being on the circuit, coaching on the circuit, there's so many kids at the live events where I coached for Adidas. Like, there were so many kids that were not ranked that you could go there and actually build around, per se. I don't understand his thoughts. Now, especially this year. This year he could have probably got somebody, but with the way he coached, I can understand why some of these players didn't want to come play. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that. I just don't. I think at the end of the day, if Pope wants to be here next year, you got to do 3 things. And this is what me and Steve from KSR was talking about, was I think you have to go to, if you get Milan, if you get him, you have to go to probably the Elite 8. If you go to the Elite 8, you'll be fine. If you go Sweet 16 with this team, I think he loses. I think if you go Sweet 16 or whatever, he'll wind up seeing something. Like, I really believe that. Like, I don't see anybody else. I don't see any other situation where he's pretty much like going to be back for year 4 with maybe 15 wins. I mean, maybe 10 losses. I don't think so. I don't think at the end of the day he's going to be there. I just don't. I really don't think. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. That's where I think at the end of the day he won't be able to do it. But if you go 3 or 4 more people, 3 or 4 more wins, you go SEC. What's it? SEC weekend. If you go into the weekend for the SEC, you go into maybe. I'm trying to think. I would say probably. I don't know. I'm trying to think. If we go into SEC, we go to the Saturday game with this team. I think that's a loss. In my opinion, I think that's a loss. That's just my thoughts. But let's get into the next thing is what do we think with the roster without Milan? So with the roster without Milan, I think we're maybe an 8-9 seed. And we're fighting for a Saturday to get into Saturday. That's just what I think. If we was to, what's going on? If we don't get him, if we do not get Milan, I think we're between a 6 and an 8 seed. That's just my thoughts. I don't think I'm worried kind of about what type of system Pope is going to play with this group. I don't understand that. I'm not saying I don't understand. I don't know what he's going to do with this group. With this group right here, I do believe that he can be more versatile. But I do say this. I do think that this roster, constructive wise, is better than last year's roster when we go constructed. So with this roster, I think he can do a little bit more, but I don't know what he's going to do as far as offensive schemes with this. You have a player like Alex that can create his own shots. You have our guy Moreno coming back. So you're going to have your 1-2 punch. Then you actually have a bench. You got Cam. You've got you got Cam. You got Jerome that could handle the rock. So it's going to be interesting to see what each person can contribute to this squad. Now, if you add Milan on there, this takes it to a 6 to 8 to a 5 to 3 seed. I want to say 5 to 3. And we're talking about the NCAA tournament. We're going 5 to 3 or 3 to 5 or whatever. But what scares me about Pope, and we'll talk about this now, is how is Pope going to coach this team? What is Pope going to do to get this team to peak at the right time? And my whole knock about Pope, especially in this whole, in the last 2 years, was the first year he had a bunch of kids that were underachievers. They had chips on their shoulders. They had different ways of making people, Pope had different ways of gatherizing the troops. And I was talking to Steve on his radio show, and Pope was very, very hungry that first year. Pope was so hungry to show Big Blue Nation that he belongs, that he's the person for the job. And I'll never forget, and he talked about this on the show, was when Cooper Flagg had the ball on the baseline, took that dribble and spun. Before he even did it, Pope said, "Hey, guess what? I want you to go get, as soon as he touched that spin, you hit and go." So he was locked in. He had a bunch of kids on that team that did not care about where they was ranked, what happened, and they wind up playing for each other, and they wind up going as far as I think they could. I think that was the ceiling for them, which is amazing for them. So now you have a team now of last year that had some alphas on the team. They legitimately had alphas there that was able to pretty much call BS. Let's just be all the way honest. They called BS. They said, "We don't want this. We don't want nothing. We're not here for, we're here to get a job done." And I think when Pope started losing, Pope wound up overcorrecting a lot of things. Pope wind up doing things that he shouldn't have did. We still don't know what happened in the Louisville locker room. We still don't know what happened, with a lot of things. And then we started seeing Pope pretty much hush up when it comes to the media. Like he started, not answering people's questions, not answering people's, this and that. And then it became a snowball effect. I believe that Pope technically went away from his normal game plan and tried something totally new. Then when Pope kind of got a little bit scared, not scared, I would say kind of frustrated, he started doing unusual things, and we saw that. We saw some of the players looking on the bench like, what are we doing? What's going on? So that's where I say that I want to see how Pope entertains this year. And I think he's done a very, very good job of answering the questions and being transparent with Big Blue Nation, because that's all Big Blue Nation wants. Big Blue Nation wants to feel involved. Big Blue Nation wants to feel like they're in it with Pope. And I think at a point in time, we didn't feel involved in anything because Pope really didn't involve us in things. Now, you can say that is not Pope's job. That is not Pope's, he doesn't have to do that. But in a way, yes, he does. This fan base is one of the most craziest fan bases that ever has been invented. This fan base is the most craziest bunch of people anybody will ever see. But that's what makes us different than any other college. That's what makes us different than any other program, is because of our fan base. And when Matt Jones says this, and I totally agree with what Matt says a lot of the time, some of the times, Matt says when you start isolating I'm paraphrasing, once you isolate yourself from the fans, that's when bad things happen in the media and all that. That's what happens. Pope decided to move away from the fans and kind of, hunker down and go from in that route. And then we started seeing things happen. So what scares me about this team is if we get everyone that we wanted, if we want to get Milan, if we got Malachi back, and if we get this team that on paper is a pretty good team, all eyes are going to be on Pope again. And I'm kind of nervous. This is why I say I don't think it'll be a top 5 team unless Pope changes. Because we've seen Pope be so good in situations, and we've seen Pope be so bad in situations. I've yet to see Pope be even, consistent. And what I mean by consistent is no crazy subs. If a guy hits 3 threes, they're not going to pull him out. We're not going to say that, it's conditioning, we got to do this, we got to do that. I don't want none of those excuses. I just want to see them go out there and actually play the game. You know what I'm saying? Actually go out there, do what you're supposed to do. Now, if Pope can do that, I think you can creep up to a top 5 team. But until then, I have my doubts about what Pope can do with this team. Like I said, I do believe there's going to be so many eyes on this program, especially if you got Milan on the team. If you got him on the team, who was the man shooting a Steph Curry-like clip last year. What are you going to do if he goes cold? Are you going to set him? Or are you going to continue to let him shoot until he gets back on his hot streak? My whole thing would be, what are we going to do to get this man to the lottery? Because you're going to technically have 2 players that are could be lottery picks. You're going to have him maybe, and then you're also going to have Malachi. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do to get those guys to lottery status? Because if we get those 2 to lottery status, that means we're doing something right now. The other caveat is going to be, what are you going to do to right your wrongs from last year? He should already have learned what he did wrong last year and is going to fix it this year. You don't need to play 11 guys. You need to get your core 7 to 8 guys, go out there, roll the ball out there, and let them play. You can't go 11, 12, 13 deep. You just can't do that. Because once a guy starts getting on the rhythm and then you pull him because you think he needs a break, no. You let that young man continue to play. one thing that I always did was if that man is hot, you feed him the rock until he cools down. And then when he cools down, all right, come on down. Let's get a breather. Let me sub somebody in. You take a couple minutes break. We're going to throw you right back in the game. You don't. That's where I say I don't understand Pope's philosophy sometimes when it comes to that. But I think last year he went away from his philosophy and he wind up doing something that he didn't really know what he was doing. So it's kind of like throwing darts at the board and hoping it sticks. That's pretty much what it felt like with Pope. With Pope in that situation. Like we're throwing things at the dartboard to make sure that it sticks and make sure that we get what we can out of certain situations. And if we didn't have Ortega, like it would have been even worse. Like it literally would have been worse and worse and worse to see what it could have happened if, just think about this. If you take Ortega out of there and you take maybe let's just say let's say Malachi doesn't develop as he did. That season's even worse than what we would have thought it would be. Like literally, that season would probably have been a blank. I mean, how's your day, man? I'm blessed. How are you doing? Like that season would have been rough if we didn't have those two there. But like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what Pope does, what Pope's schemes are going to be this year, especially if we get Milan, if we get him on the team. How are we going to get, spots to get him open? What type of plays are we going to get to open up the offense? Because I thought the offense pretty much was stagnant at times. Normally, if you watch Pope's offense the first year compared to the second year, the first year it was free flowing. They was getting shots up and it looked really, really good. Second year, it looked like it was stagnant. It was like one-on-one situations. It was just pretty much, if all else fails, chuck up three. If all else fails, pray Malachi gets the basket. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the thing that I just didn't like. That was the thing that I didn't have any patience watching because it was just it was bad basketball. And I hate to say it like that, but it was literally bad basketball to the point where you're just thinking, what is he doing? You had normal people, no offense, you had people that didn't even know basketball, like looking at him like, what are you doing? And then you had the basketball heads. Do you think we'll give him a line? I give it 50-50. I was talking about that earlier. I give it 50-50. I don't like everyone's put their cards down on the table. Everyone has put, this is what it's going to be. This is how much we're going to give you, 5 to 6 to 7 million. I think Kentucky has the highest offer. So now it's pretty much, where does he want to play? Does he want to play for Pope? So I think it's 50-50 right now. I don't think it's 50-50 on what he wants to do, where he wants to play. If I am a betting man, I go Cats might be in the lead with 55%, in my opinion. 55% at max. 60 if I'm feeling good off of an energy drink, but that's kind of where it stands at for me. Is I think it's just, where does he want to play with? I do think Kentucky is the best landing spot for him. I think Pope's offense, if ran right, is perfect for him. I think he would thrive in this type of offense, especially if Pope lets him get all the shots that he wants up. Then this is a place you want to go, but you better be able to deliver, you better be able to deliver. If not, and you have this, this sharpshooter on, the coldest streak of his college career, they're going to look at you crazy. But I do believe that the best fit, if we're looking structural offensive schemes, we're looking at pretty much being able to not really do what you want, but be able to get the keys handed to you. Kentucky is the best fit by far. Kentucky is by far the best fit that that he can go for. So I do believe that. I believe that if we can land him, we go from a 8 to 5 seed in the NCAA tournament No. An 8 to 6 seed, 6 to 8 seed. If we land him, and our potential could be maybe 3 to 5 if we land him. If we don't land him, then it stays at a 6 to 8, ceiling, in my opinion. That's just my thoughts. But I think a lot of people are spreading too many. Let me pull this up real quick. I think a lot of people are spreading too many crazy facts, talking about like they're signed. He's gonna. He signed yesterday. They're waiting. No one knows. No one knows what he's gonna do. Like, you have a bunch of people that just don't know. Like, and I'm not gonna go out there on the fence and scream that he's gonna be, he's coming to Kentucky. He's coming to Lexington. I just don't see it yet until I get the phone call or till I get a message from somebody that I trust. I'm not saying a word until it's legit and until it's ready to go. But I think this year's whole, recruitment and not recruitment, but just like portal, it's just been so weird. Like, it's been like this portal with social media and all of that. I think it's been the most craziest because everyone can, say what they want. And I think it ramped up just because of what happened with, this year, what happened with, Pope and, not talking to the media and then going out there and talking, answering the questions. I think Pope kind of put this on himself a little bit, in my opinion. Pope put this on himself to be not really, I wouldn't say hated, but kind of like, I don't know how I could say this. He kind of made everyone feel like in the dark. We'll just say in the dark. We'll say in dark. Just in the dark with everything. And I don't think he meant to. I don't think he wanted to do that. But like, when you put the fans in the dark, they're going to come up with anything and every type of, scenario about what is happening. What is this? What is that? Why we're not getting this player? Why is this player coming? I mean, we said it like 16, 14 to 16 of the best players in the last year and a half came through Lexington, and none of them signed. And we don't know why. We legitimately don't know why. We do hear the rumblings of they thought Pope was weird. And hey, listen, everyone has their own things. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has their own things of, what makes them weird, what makes them, quirky, what makes them a nerd, what makes them cool, what makes them whatever. But when you hear rumblings of they thought Pope was weird, and I don't mean bad weird. I mean, I'm guessing just like nerdy bookworm type weird. What kind of thing is, going on behind the scenes? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? What is the thing? I just don't know. Like, I would love to know. I would love to know what it could be. What is going on? And another thing is, what is going on these recruitment visits that none of these players want to stay? Like, Pope was asked a little bit. He kind of gave a little bit of something, but, didn't give us everything. So what is going on behind the scenes at these visits? Should we stick to Zoom? Should we send Mo instead of Pope? Like, so that's my thing is I don't know really what is going on behind the scenes. And like, when you hear the recruit, the kids coming on campus saying that Pope is weird, Pope is this, Pope is whatever, kind of scares me. But I think if we do land Elon, if we do, I think that is a Pope type kid that we will, we kind of can be like, hey, all right, we finally landed one. But in my opinion, I want to see him go get a top 5 high school kid. I want to see him go against some of these big name programs, the UConns, whoever, and go land one of these young men. But to the opposite effect, What if he's not good with those kids? What if Pope is not good with actually landing the top 5 kids, but we get 25 or 20 down and we make the Final Four? I'll take that. If he is not comfortable getting the alpha kids, the top 10 kids, top 5 kids, I think we as Big Blue Nation need to understand that if we're seeing the success on the court. If we're seeing the success on the court of him getting kind of like role players and building them up to stars to play together, and we get to Final Fours, Randy, thank you so much for the likes. Then I think that Big Blue Nation needs to understand that we might not be getting 1 through 10. But if we're going to Final Fours with 20 through 50, I think we would all agree, okay, cool. Because if you look at the first group was a bunch of blue collar guys that just brought their lunch brought their lunch every day and went out there and went to work. That was the team that Pope needs. Last year there were some alphas on the team that pushed back, and I said it with Steve. I said it on his show. No, I didn't say it. I chimed in on the show, and I said, if you have a bunch of alphas on the team and the head coach is the alpha, Pope is the alpha, and the alpha is doubting himself, those other alphas are not going to follow him because they don't trust him. So at the end of the day, you're going to have to pretty much, it's like a game of poker. Think of it like this. It's like a game of poker. Everyone's played poker at one time, or, blackjack, whatever. You got to put it your poker face. You got to outsmart that other person to think that you ain't got a good hand. Even though you might have the best hand, you got to have that stale face. And sometimes you see on the bench, Pope looks just helpless. You saw the players look at him like, come on, coach, let's get this. And it kind of looked like he didn't have anything to give. But that first year, like, he was in it. He was in it to win it. He was ready to go through a brick wall for whatever reason. He was there. I need that Pope for this team. Milan, if we get him, if we don't, I need that Pope. I need that Pope that's going to put, the inspiration back in those kids. I need the Pope that's going to be able to push those kids to levels they didn't even know. Because if we really think about it, the first year we was like, oh God, what is this team? What is going on? It's just a team that was thrown together, but that team that thrown together bought into the system and went on a crazy run. Last year, the team didn't buy into the system when we saw how that turned out. So this year, I really think that at the end of the day, we're going to have to find a even playing field for Pope, where he has to be that guy that, I don't want to hear nothing about rainbows and sunshines and Ferraris. I want to hear nerdy Pope that's in the lab, that won the game because he knew Cooper Flag was going to take 2 dribbles and spin, and he knew when he was going to do it. I need that Pope. I need that Pope that was locked into the film, knowing this, knowing what those guys were doing, knowing what every player on that court was going to do, and dissecting that game down. That's the Pope I need. He built that team, and he really did. He built the team as soon as he got here. You know what I'm saying? And that team was, and I don't want to say it like this because it sounds so bad. That team was a bunch of players that I wouldn't say nobody wanted, but like some no names, some players that needed another shot, some players that had the chip on the shoulder. They came here and played their heart out. You know what I'm saying? Like, they literally came here and played their heart out because that coach, Mark Pope, was so fired up. He was ready. He was so ready for that season because he wanted to prove to Big Blue Nation that he belonged here. Now, you can say he got here because of him being at UK. Yes, you can say that. I'm perfectly fine with that. I have no problem with that, because if you look at Mark Pope's resume and everybody else's resume, his resume does not match the one that would be hired for Kentucky. That's fine. I would argue somebody up and down that would say his resume deserved to be a UK. That's fine. I don't believe that. But he had to prove himself. So that first year, he was willing to go the extra 50 miles to make sure that he put the best product out on that court. And he did. Those kids bought in. Those kids believed. But now, last year, as the alpha, if you have doubt in your system, if you have doubt anywhere on you, they're going to smell that, and then they're going to look at you like, do you really know what you're talking about? Do you really know what you're doing? Why are we doing these crazy substitute patterns? Man, I've hit 3 in a row. Why are you taking me out? Oh, well, you don't have conditioning. You need to rest for a second. No, I don't. I'm fine. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, so this year I need that first year Pope back. This year I need to see Pope actually lock back in. And I think he's taking steps in the right direction. I don't think he's, especially with the media stuff, I think he's taking a step in the right direction. I do believe that if he's able to go back to year one, I think it's going to be an amazing time. I think it's going to be an amazing year. If we get Milan, if we don't, I'm a little bit more nervous, but I think we're going to see some good things out of this team. I don't believe we're in jeopardy of missing the tournament. I don't think that at all. I don't think that we will miss the tournament at all. I don't believe that. I see a lot of. I think also it's the cool thing to kind of hate a little bit per se. It's not going to be great either way. 16 at best. Pope's last year, I can't say that. I mean, that's your opinion. Like if you know that they're going to be at the Sweet 16, I would love for you to give me the lottery numbers for tonight. You know what I'm saying? I would love for you. It's not going, if it's not going to be great, please give me that. But hey, that's your opinion. I can't argue with your opinion on that though. Still a solid team without Milan, in my opinion, especially if we get first year Pope. If we get that Pope that, like I said, that will run through the brick wall, that's going to literally break down anything and everything and put these kids in spots of success, I think we'll be fine. One thing that I do put as my X factor for this year, and I think we'll see it so much in the guards, is having Mo on the staff. That's one thing we didn't have. Imagine Mo being here when the first 2 years, how much better the guards would be. Jasper would thrive with somebody like Mo. And if we was to get Jamal, which I don't know, we'll see. If we was to get Jamal and Jasper working together, that's perfect for each other. But I think this year we'll see a lot, especially with Mo being hands-on with the players, being very, very, development with the guards and all of that. I think the guards will be a lot stronger this year than the past years because of somebody like Mo. I don't think we had anybody really like Mo the first 2 years, developing the players, sort of like, being that guy that's in the gym grinding with them. I think Mo's going to be very, very important to Alex, Zoom, Jerome. And that's another thing is we do actually have a bench this year. We actually have a bench that you can put in and I wouldn't not really worry, but kind of like be able to get a break, because Jerome's going to go in there and just do what Jerome does best is, not do too much, not do too little, just be there and be consistent. And that's me watching. If I've coached against Jerome, that's me kind of studying up on film from him. He's just going to be consistent. Now, I'm not saying he's a game changer, but it is a good role player that we didn't have. We didn't really have much of a bench, So having a bench now, having somebody, having grown men coming in there to give Malachi a break, and like I said, we'll see how long he can last. I do believe that our grown ass man is probably going to be 15 to 20 minutes. That's just my opinion. 15, 20 minutes. we'll have from him. Uh, and then we're gonna see we're gonna see the how strong the overseas market is. I think we're going to be very, very surprised by some of these guys that we've got overseas that's coming in here and playing. And a lot of people don't know a lot of people don't realize how physical the overseas game is. And yes, it is different than the American game, but overseas they are playing professional at 13, 14 years old. They're playing, and it might not be the Euro leagues, but it's the development that they do. They're more fundamental than if you watch a overseas game. They're more fundamental than our players here are in America, because that's something that they put into them is the fundamentals. So I think it's going to take a while for those players to kind of I hope it doesn't, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time for those players to come around to the American game. But when it happens, I believe I'm gonna go out on the record. I think we'll see some amazing things happen with those players. Matter of fact, let me pull up that roster again real quick, guys. Give me 1 second. But missing tournaments. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening this year. I just don't. All right, May 9th. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. All right, so I think we're going to see big things from Alex. I think Alex can create his shot, and that's something that we really needed. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a lot better than what people are going to think. Usman, I think Usman's going to be very, very good too. I think Usman's going to shock some people. If Usman can play, just how he did, overseas, but more controlled, I think he's going to be an amazing player. The one that the one that I really, I've heard things about, me and some people have been talking about, is Braden. If he can have a breakout year, watch out. If he can have a breakout year, that we've all heard the rumors that he's went through. He pretty much tortured everybody one-on-one from last year. He's did this, did that. If he can be a half of what people are saying, that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be interesting. Justin McBride, I think, is going to be a great backup coming in, great passer, and then Frederick Keplong is going to be a beast. 15 minutes to 18 minutes. If he can stay healthy, I think that man is going to, he's going to be, in my opinion, he's going to make Malachi a lottery pick next year, because he's going to be so physical with him, hopefully next year. This year, in practice this year, I hope he's physical with him, tosses him around, and shows him how to be physical back. Because that was the big thing with me watching Malachi, was he wasn't as physical as I want him to be. And if he wants to be in the No Boys Allowed league, if he wants to be in the NBA, you're going to have to be physical. You're going to have to be in there with the dogs. You're going to be in there mud wrestling. And I think Frank is going to, he's going to wind up helping Malachi way more than what people think, especially in practice. But I think this, like I said, if you add, you got 2 more spots. If you add Milan and maybe one other surprise, I think you go from a 6 to 8 seed to a 4, a 3, a 2, maybe a 2 to 5. Now that's if everything works out. That's if all is well. I do believe maybe 2, maybe 3 to 3, maybe 3. I'll go 3 to 5. I'll go 3. I ain't gonna say 2 yet. I'll say 3 to 5. We'll go 3 to 5. If not, we're a 6 to 8. And that's just where I think it's going to be, because I think the guards is going to be really, really good, and especially Cam working with, I forgot, even Cam working with Mo is going to be amazing. That's just my opinion, guys. Like I said, I don't like that we have to wait, but it is what it is. It's the climate of it's the climate of college basketball now. It's the climate of the portal where we have to wait and see where and when these players are actually going to commit. And at the end of the day, we have to we have to wait, which sucks because we all want to know what's going on now. We want to know what is going to happen. Is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen tomorrow? Is it going to happen this? Is it going to happen that? Like I said, I don't see it happening until maybe Monday, Tuesday, but I could be wrong. If I am wrong, we will hop on here and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what the significance is of him committing. Longer it takes, the less good. Okay. Why do you think that for? Why do you think the longer it takes, the less you feel good about it? Because I mean, I can see that, because you want him to commit now because, you know, the Zoom call and all that, you know, hey, we would love for it, but the longer it happens, you know, the longer it's kind of like other people can creep in, you know, and literally take him. More time for Louisville to catch up. Well, I guess because of the last few recruits of the state of the United. No, I'm not disagreeing with you one bit. I totally agree, especially with, like, you know what? You think? No, I don't. I don't think he's gonna commit today. I don't think so. In my opinion, I don't think he does until maybe Monday or Tuesday. But I can say, I mean, watch it happen. Watch it happen as soon as I get offline. He's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I totally agree with you. I don't disagree one bit. I don't, because we've been here before. That's it's past trauma. You're right. I mean, how many times have we seen this? How many times have we seen we're right there? We could have got him. And the next thing you know, somebody swoops in and gets him. No, I totally agree. So let me ask you this. Did you not see the tweet saying that he told Kentucky and Louisville decision? It's time. Yeah, I saw that tweet. I'm sitting here looking at it right now. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. That's just my opinion. I don't believe it unless I see a couple other people like say it. And nothing against the tweet, because I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't believe that yet. Now, if I see like you know, a couple other people tweet it, then I might put some legs into it. But hey, if it turns out to be true, great. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of don't go by a lot of, you know, it's so hard to navigate in the world of X. I mean, hopefully y'all can agree with this. It's so hard to navigate. Like before, you didn't have to pay $10 to get a check mark. You know what I'm saying? You had to have a certain amount of followers. You had to have a certain amount of this. Now everyone, you know, has an X by their name and, you know, this and that. Now the dude that I did see tweeted out, he had like 8,000 followers or whatnot, and that doesn't mean a thing. I mean, you can buy 8,000 followers, and that's nothing against that person. But it's so hard to navigate through X. Who's telling truth? Who isn't? But if it is true, and they did announce that, you know, like I'm sitting here reading the tweet that you're probably talking about. Iowa transfer Milan has informed both Kentucky and Louisville staffs of his decision. A source tells me announcement is suspected to come soon. If that is true, let's just say it is. We would have already that tweet went out at 2:24. Okay, we would have already heard probably some leaks, in my opinion. If that is true, I would think we would have heard some leaks about what's going on. Now, I could be wrong, but that kind of gives me it's kind of hard for me to believe in a way, because we all know how we all know how leaky this stuff is. So okay, let's say you're Louisville. Let's say you're Louisville and he doesn't come. He's not coming. You don't think they're gonna leak out? Oh, he's not coming, and that's gonna get out. If you're Kentucky now, yes, Kentucky has been a lot close-lipped, and we haven't known a lot. So, or if let's just say Arizona. So I'm with you, yeah, but I don't know. That it's an interesting piece. I do feel like we get him. It'll be a blessing in disguise. If I do, yeah, I do believe that. But I'll throw this back at you all. You know how many eyes was on Pope this year, to be honest? You know how like when Pope was having the worst run of his career? You know how many eyes was on Pope in Kentucky basketball? It scares me now, if we do get him, how many eyes are going to be on Pope. Is he going to be able to handle that pressure? And I hope he is, but I'm just saying, is he going to be able to handle that pressure of being criticized if Milan doesn't get the game-winning shot, or if Milan's not getting enough touches, or if Malachi isn't getting enough touches? Is he going to be able to take that type of criticism, or is he going to go in the press conference like we saw when he lost, a couple games and say he was going to roll into a ball and whatever? That's what kind of scares me about Pope. If he was to get this caliber of a team, is he going to be able to handle that type of pressure? And we haven't really seen that. We haven't seen that type of challenge come to Pope. No way, Cats have 5 studs in the start. 5 studs? What are we talking about? No way. We need Dark Pope. Oh my God. Dark Pope made me laugh. Zoom. Okay. Alex is going to shock people. You can't. Cam ain't going to be in the starting lineup. In my opinion, I don't think Cam is in the starting lineup. If we was to get everybody that we want, I don't think Cam could be in the starting lineup. That's just me. I think Cam is a better 6-man. But it isn't my decision, I guess. It would. I don't think it would ever be my decision. Yeah. Dark Pope when Dark Pope cussed out, like started cussing, then I started liking him more and more. Dark Pope was wild. But I mean, Cam will jump this year. So you think Cam's going to take the leap? Do you think Cam's going to be okay? Give me okay. I'm not disagreeing with you. Give me the reason why you think Cam is going to take a big jump this year. Do you think getting the taste kind of the last couple of games or the last couple of weeks of the season, seeing that success, and then coming back and locking in because he kind of tapped into his potential? Like he kind of put it together. Playing time alone. Okay. I think he kind of tapped into his potential there toward that end to see like, oh shoot, I actually belong and can play. I do believe he kind of shocked himself and like, oh shoot, okay, it's my time. I think there's a lot of things that Cam, hopefully in my opinion, there's some things that I wish Cam will correct this year. Like I think over dribbling and stuff like that. I think there's some things that Cam, if contained, and I don't want to say contained because I always say if you got horses, let them run. If Cam can cut down on a couple things, I think he would. I'm with you. I can see the jump this year. I can see that. I think this team will fit Pope's playing style. But yeah, I do. I think Pope's style, and I don't understand why. Well, I kind of do, but I don't understand why Pope went away from his values of last year. I still don't understand that. I don't understand why he went there. Air starter asked to do stuff not natural to them. The injury bug hurt him, but I do blame Pope. I do blame Pope, not for the injuries, but for not having a backup point guard. I blame Pope to the day I go to this grave that Pope didn't recruit a backup point guard. You could have got a backup point guard. And Jasper was not the backup point guard. Jasper was just put into that role. You could have had a backup point guard, and that's where I just didn't understand that. Now, they had to play different roles. Yeah, that's true, but at the end of the day, the coach should have been 15 steps ahead and got a backup. I do think this group is going to have a better playing style, and I'll say this as well. I think if Milan was to join this team, I think this style of this offensive schemes that Pope runs is better fit for Milan than Louisville and any other player. Not that I heard. Now, matter of fact, we can check. I'll double check that because I don't want to lie to you. I don't think so. But let me double check. Let me see here. Quincy said he signed. Let's take a look. Swags blocked. That's crazy. Hey, Florida's going. Hey, SEC is going to be wild next year. SEC is going to be crazy, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see what like SEC, like you're going to have to be you're going to have to play like. I can't wait. Like, I can't wait for the season. I'm gonna and I do while we are in here, I do have we will be going on location to after some UK games. We will be at a destination. I can't say yet. We're in talks with them to do live post game shows at a sports bar. I'll tell y'all more about that once we sign everything. But yeah, we will be doing that, and I can't wait. With Milan, we can complete starting five. The bench will be now I think this. Hold up? Let me find this real quick. Let me find my. Yeah, the bench might be a question. Let me say this. I think Jerome's going to come in and just be what Jerome is, a good, role player. Matter of fact, hold up. Let me pull this back up again. Give me a second here. I think if Frank is healthy and stays healthy, I think he'll be an amazing backup to Malachi. Just what I think he's going to be that beast that's going to come in there and bruise a lot of people. I do believe that. If he stays healthy, let's just say if he stays healthy. Justin McBride, I think Justin's got a good upside to him as well. Doesn't do too much, stays in his wheelbarrow. What is the big X factor in my opinion is what Braden does. Is Braden the guy that we've heard about? That's what is he going to do? That's the big question in my opinion. What is he going to do? Is he going to come out of his shell? Like that's the question. Pope needs to let Malachi. I agree. I agree, but also I think Pope needs to push Malachi to points of unheard of. I think Pope needs to push Malachi to get in way better shape, to pretty much be in the best shape of his life, where he can take 30, 35 minutes a game and not be as tired. I don't trust the backups at this point. I got to see. I think there's potential. Once I see practices and stuff like that, then I'll be like, okay, well, this is okay. We might be okay. But I totally agree. I totally go. We got to see. We have to see. Like same thing we say about this decision. The longer it takes, Malachi might be like he might be, but he's got a lot to. I wouldn't say a lot to work on, but a lot to improve on. I said in my video before, I want to see him put the ball on the floor. I want him to take at least 2 to 3 dribbles from that top of the key, especially catching it at the top of the key. I want to see him take 1 or 2 dribbles and get to the rim, be able to hit a 3, not shooting 900 threes, but to be able to hit the 3 and that 15-footer, to be able to lock in and go there. If he can do that, the sky's the limit for that young man. I think I had a lot of people say, "Oh, he's not a lottery pick. He's not that good." All right, that's cool. You believe what you want to believe. I believe what I want to believe. I think he has all the tools to be a lottery pick. That's just my opinion on the fact. You're right. Good fundamental, and you know what? His brother was a smaller version of him. Michael was hey, Parker, thank you so much for the likes. His brother was just a smaller version of him who played at EKU, played at Scott County. Like his brother was very, very good too. A hard-nosed kid. Now, that's one thing I wish he would get from his brother is that hard-nosed, I'm going to put my head down and I'm just going to grind type of attitude. I wish he would kind of get that from his brother, but I think he'll get there. He's young, but his brother didn't. His brother was physical. His brother was just like, what did Michael do? I want to say, hold on one second. He did, I think he got like some type of record at EKU. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Because his brother played at EKU. Let me see here. Okay, so his brother broke the yeah, his brother. I mean, from I haven't talked to Michael in forever, but this young man is a great young man. His brother is an amazing young man. Played at Scott County. Just really like an amazing young man. I ain't gonna sit there and lie to you. But yeah, no, his brother played like his brother was legit, like legit. Give me. He said I forgot what was it. Let me see here. Let's see. Oh yeah, so second double was 12. Let's see, what was the record? Record saying second double of the season at 12 points. His brother seems like I believe a big factor in Ramsey Cup, but I think he, I think Malachi probably sat down in the room with, the loved ones or, people that he trusts and was like, hey, what do y'all think? Now, I'm not saying that I know anything. I'm just saying if I was in his shoes, I'm going to sit down and talk to my trusted advising team and be like, hey, what do y'all think? Do we go back to Kentucky and make a bag? Go back to where I'm going to be loved, get better, and then have a potential lottery pick season next draft? Or do I go into a league with a championship contending team or whatever, sit the bench and maybe get my number called? Or do I go back to college, get better, work on my tools, work on my craft, show that I can be a leader because he's going to be the leader of the team, show them I can lead the team, I can be physical, I can do these things, get my conditioning up, and then step into the role of the guy when you're put in the lottery. So who's better to tell you the hard truth than your brother? Your brother's not going to tell you. Some brothers are going to tell you what you want to hear. Some brothers are going to tell you what you need to hear. And if it's my bet, I think, Michael was like, hey, listen, I think you need to go back. These are some things you need to work on. Let's get to where you need to be. That's just my opinion. Like, I don't know if that happened, but, good family, an amazing family, amazing people. But yeah, I think him coming back is going to be big. Let me see here. Let me double check. Let me go here. Give me 1 second, y'all. Yeah, still nothing from that end. So I don't know. Like I said, guys, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think, and like I said, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will hop right back on here, and all y'all can come back in here and say, hey, we told you he was going to commit this weekend, you dummy. And I'm like, you're right. You're 100% right. But I just don't see them. I don't see him committing this weekend. I see him waiting a little bit till maybe Monday. But like I said, could be wrong. Been wrong before. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting time. If we get him, great. If we don't, we move on and, go about our business. But guys, I want to say thank y'all so much for everything. Now, again, I will be, hold up. I'm going to, I got to read this off real quick, guys, real quick. Okay. I'll be back Wednesday, around maybe Wednesday. I'll be in maybe Wednesday morning. But Friday, I will be on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 960, on 12 o'clock on Friday. I'll be on there. We'll be talking basketball. We'll be talking about a lot of things. I'll be on there with Steven. Asked me to come on for Big Sports Radio, 1450 in Louisville. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to be, talking sports with everybody. So we will be on the radio Friday from 12 to 2. It is on YouTube. It is on Louisville 1450. So guys, make sure. Hey Jerry, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you all for everything. I'm excited for that. But guys, I will be back probably Tuesday. Well, yeah, probably Tuesday. I'll probably be back Tuesday, guys. I will see you all then. Until then, thank y'all so much for everything. Peace.